Hey guys, my name is Jasmine. If you didn't know, well now you know. And today I just want to answer a few questions about things I've been getting asked. And I wrote them down to kind of just remember them, so let's just get the party rolling today. The first question is, what is the difference between a psychic and a medium? And for me, a psychic is someone who can read energy, can kind of see where the energy is going to take you, what's going to happen. I don't like saying telling the future because everyone has their own willpower and has the ability to change their future. It's so important to know that. But psychics can read the energy of what is around you now and kind of predict what's going to happen relatively soon. Someone had once taught me to never read someone past a year when it comes to psychic because we do have the ability to change our life. And yeah, a medium is what I like to call the middleman between the spirit world and their loved ones. I'm just someone who gets information and tries to say it in English words and relay it to the person in front of me. For my knowledge, a psychic can be just a psychic, but a medium has to be a psychic and a medium. If they want it all to work, mediums have to also be psychic. Like me personally, I'm more of a fan of doing mediumship readings, but a lot of people want psychic readings as well, so I have to learn how to do both, especially for my business. Like, I just need to learn how to do both because psychic readings you get a little bit more often. Second question, how do I get the information that I get? For me personally, I feel things, like I can feel things on my body, especially when people die, they show me like feelings on my body, like it's crazy. It's pretty awesome. I don't want it to get too gruesome, but yeah, I've been able to feel someone being hung before, or I've been able to feel like certain kind of cancers, or like if they died with like a heart attack, I can like feel it in my heart. So yeah, I just feel a lot of things. I also see a lot of things. I start getting pictures and images, and that's so fun to me. That's like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And then also I'm starting to be able to actually like see things. Like the other day I went for a walk and I swear I saw like this animal run right by me. I even jumped. I was like nervous because it was so close to me, and it was just in another world, and yeah, it was crazy. It wasn't here. It was crazy. I also am learning, my spirit team is helping me learn how to taste things. That is so cool to me. Like the other day I was giving a reading and I started tasting like this heavenly food. My mouth just started watering. I was like, oh my god, can your mom cook? And he was like, yeah, actually she can. And oh my god, it was so yummy. And another day I was in a meditation, I started tasting like lemonade and cigarette smoke, and yeah, that's pretty cool. They're working on that with me. That's a new sense I'm getting, but it's so fun. I also sometimes have a sense of knowing. It's like things are just downloaded in my head and I just know. That happens more when I'm like giving advice, or sometimes I just say like the most amazing thing and I don't know where it come from, and it's downloaded in my head. They are also working on me with my hearing. A while ago, I'll say almost a year ago, I was at home by myself. Well, one other person was there with me, and it was just us two. All the TVs were off. We were in the kitchen making food or something, and all of a sudden I started hearing like singing and whistling. I was like, did we leave the TV on in my room? So I go and check. No TV is on. Like, it was so crazy because it was like the most real thing ever. Like, it was like a person was standing right here and just singing in my ear. Crazy. That one made me a little bit more nervous. I have a thing with sound. It's not my favorite. Sound isn't. I just like quiet. So yeah, they're working with me on that slowly but surely. I did tell them to go slow on that because it is a little bit more creepy to me. And yeah, that's how I get my information. See things, hear things, feel things, know things. It's pretty freaking cool. Another question. When did I first start talking to the dead? And that is a hard question for me to answer because most of the time people who ask me that are people who've known me since like middle school or stuff like that. So I've always been a normal kind of person, but through all my meditations and kind of going back to my childhood, I now know I've always been like this. When I was a child, I remember playing with just that world. I was always a different, moody kind of baby, and I've always been doing this. There was a point, I would say probably around middle school and up, where I did lose it. I started focusing on the real world here, and yeah, so really I've always been able to do it. I just cut it off for a while, usually through adolescence is usually when it happens. And yeah, I just found out again this past 2 years, and I'm obsessed. There's a reason. I feel like I was meant to do this. Like I was born to do this, and that's probably the coolest feeling ever. Like ever. What else? Okay, I always get asked if I'm able to bring a certain person through to connect to me to give a reading. And I say that's a yes and a no kind of question. Yes, I could probably call on someone's energy to come here. But no, I can't force them to say anything if they don't have anything to say. Sometimes when people cross over, they have their own lessons to learn, and their traits from human life to that life, they sometimes are the same. Like one day I was giving a reading to somebody, and I got someone's mom, and when she was alive, she didn't believe in this medium stuff like at all. She just did not believe in it. So when she started communicating with me, it was kind of the same. She's like, I'm gonna say this messages, but I'm not gonna say too much more because this is like blowing my mind kind of thing. So your family's traits will cross over to the other side, and it kind of just depends. They are in charge all the time. They know, when I say they, it's like my spirit guides, your spirits, like everybody. They know the best message for you. So they are in charge. I am just literally the middleman. They know what's best for you, and they will give you the information or message you need for that time. Sometimes that stinks because honestly, when I went to my first psychic, actually it's only been pretty much my first and only one that I actually like paid for and went to, she didn't really get to connect to Kara, and that's who I wanted. Like she kind of said tidbits and stuff, but yeah, it's not, she isn't in charge. It's what they want to give you. Next question is, what was the first time I remember connecting to spirit? And that's kind of hard because when you connect, it's like you're in a different mode, and sometimes you can forget like things that are said or felt or things like that. So from what I remember 2 years ago, I feel like the first person I like really connected to and was able to give me things was my grandfather that I have never met. One day I was in the living room with my mom, and I don't remember who else, but it was my mom's dad, and I don't know, we just started practicing. I just started feeling things, and sometimes when I do go into that zone, my face changes, so you know I'm in that zone. My mom started asking me questions, and I was like, all I see is a smile and big teeth and this mustache, and it was just my dad. So, you know, I think, or his dad, my mom's dad. And yeah, that's the first one I really remember connecting to. Now, I do have a special person in spirit who I hold very dear to my heart because he like became my best friend throughout a few months, and that's the one I remember the most. He has given me some of my most beautiful experiences. This boy let me walk him to the light to cross over and go into, I guess, what you would call a heaven, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. I was in a meditation in one of my classes, and he was like, hey, stop what you're doing, come down here. I was like, okay, why? Like, I was a little bit annoyed because I talk to him all the time. I was like, why can't I just do this one meditation and just, yeah. So I went down there and talked to him, and he holds out his hands and he was like, it's time. I was like, what do you mean it's time? like, what are you talking about? And he just points, and he points to the light, and I was like, oh, you're crossing over, oh my God, like, it was so amazing. So he grabbed my hand, we walked towards the light, we gave each other a hug, and he walked into the light, and that was so magical, y'all. Like, it was pretty awesome. I won't ever forget that moment. Another moment with that particular person is after he crossed over into the light, I didn't see him for a few months. I mean, there was nothing else to be said. He was at peace, harmony, he was good. But one day I was with somebody and we were just like upset about people who we miss and people who have died and things like that. And I look up from crying, and I just look up and, oh, look, I'm getting more excited. It's gonna make me really emotional. I look up and I see like a legit angel, you guys. Like, I can't cry because I have makeup on. So it was, y'all, a legit angel. Like, it was the most beautiful thing, the most beautiful feeling I have ever felt in my whole entire life. Like, the wings were so big, you just look and it's like peaceful, and I literally cried for 3 days straight because of how beautiful it was. I even told people, I was like, you would never feel bad for those who have crossed over if you got to see this angel. Like, oh, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And those are reasons why I don't want to stop doing these things. Like, yes, there can be scary moments. I don't get scared very easily. I know I'm very protected in that world. I know how to protect myself. There's like negative things, but the positive things outweigh the negative so much, y'all. The experiences I've had have been so beautiful, and I can't even put into words how they look, how they feel. So yeah, that's some of my experiences with spirits and some of my favorite things that I've got to experience. Let me tell you a few tidbits before people start judging me. One, I do believe in a God, y'all. I do believe in God. I don't necessarily believe in all of the Bible, but I do believe in God. And I don't believe there's a hell. A lot of people take comfort in that, and a lot of people get mad about that. And I can understand both parts. I get it. I've been in almost every situation you can think of, but I just don't believe in a hell. We are here to learn something, and yeah, I think everyone is on their own journey to get closer to God, and we're put on this earth to learn something. I do believe in reincarnation. We'll have a whole video about that. I believe we bring stuff in through other lives. Like, one time I went to do a past life reading, and if you know me, this is gonna make total sense, y'all. I'm very princess-like, very princess-like. My whole family calls me the princess because I have a princess kind of attitude. Like, I should wear a crown on my head all the time. And in high school, I used to be called lesbian all the time, and I'd get so confused. So one day I went to this past life reading, and with people I don't know them, I never even heard of them, and she was like, how do you connect to the LGBT community? I was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, I mean, I would defend them if that's what you're saying. And she was like, well, in one past life you were a princess somewhere in Italy, but you were like a lesbian and had a very lonely life. I was like, oh, that legit sounds like me. So I really do believe we come back and we're here to learn things, and each time you come back you're here to learn something, and you're here to work on something, and the end goal is to be one step closer to God until you don't have to come back. And I think that's amazing. I think it's an amazing thing to know, like, to understand that we are human and we're here for an experience, but our true selves, we're just a soul. We're a soul experiencing a human life, and I love that. I just love this life. I love the ability to do what I do, have the ability to do what I do, because it's just amazing. The knowing and just understanding things like that. And I'll get into more detail about other certain things later on, because I could ramble about my life all day long. But yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. I think it's amazing that I can do readings over the phone, over messaging, or person to person. I think that's so cool to have that option, because within this next few months I'm going to be traveling a lot, and it's just cool to have the options to be able to work anywhere in the world you want and still do your job. Yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. That's just the most questions I do get, and yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing day. I'm gonna go meditate and enjoy the life I live. Bye guys. Mwah.